about mites, different mite treatments, and all things in that space. He's got, as you know, with this many hives, lots of experience, so he'll also open it up for questions. So I'll let you take it away.
I'm George Anderson. This is my sidekick, Robin. So we run farms called GM, then the word BEE farm. We, our main love is genetics and queens. We probably did 1,000 this year. And honey, right? Gotta have the honey. So we're gonna, anybody got any questions like that? You wanna ask me something particular before I start a little spiel? Something I can target for you?
Where's your farm?
It's in Batavia area.
Thank you.
All right, so mites. Fuckers. All right, so I've been around before mites. You guys were talking about, we'll just start with the alcohol wars. Are you doing alcohol wars just because you want to do that and get a count? Or do you not want to pull the drones with a fork?
I did the alcohol wash with Boone just to get some experience on it. So that's one of our scholarship winners, so we kind of try to take them through. This is where they'll get a chance to learn.
Well, let's talk about alcohol washes.
Dave with,
I'll do a real quick alcohol wash from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the beginning, we had these. Basically, all it is a Dixie cup. Cut the bottom out, put some hardware cloth in it. These are better than these because once you swirl them out of here, I can see if any are stuck at the bottom and count them too, and count the ones in the cups. Where these, when you're turning them, they get stuck up in this filter. So you really don't get a good count. So you know this.
Yeah, when I started first, that's what we used.
Yeah. We don't do any alcohol washes anymore. It's just, for us, it's counterproductive. I mean.
Well, let's go backwards. Has everybody seen a mite? Do you guys know what a mite looks like?
Next year when you're doing the inspector things, they will want you to do alcohol washes, especially anybody that's selling queens.
Yeah, that's the most important, right? So
We pull.
yeah, we
pull
do drone pulls. Okay, so we'll pass this around, and in the bottom you can see these little tiny insects. Yeah, and
This one don't have it yet.
you know, we need to get a model. They have a model of the Varroa destructor mite that gives you a size compared to the bee compared to a human, and it's like the size of a frisbee if a bee was the size of a human. I mean, they're massive, and they feed on the bee's blood and suck all the nutrients out of them, and they weaken the hive, and eventually it will collapse. So that's why we're doing all this, the mite washes and mite counts. So that brings us to this on how we can treat.
Anybody got questions on the alcohol washes?
What are you using with that? I mean, it's got no problems up there. It's not problems.
Alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah.
This has been in there for a long
Is it just the brown
time.
ones or is it the white ones too? There's white things in here too.
Yeah, just the brown ones. They've been in there a while. I need to wash them out and get a new. Been sitting on the shelf for a while. We just kind of don't use them no more. But like, if you want to do it, I'm not going to discourage you to do it. It's nice to know what you got going on. So if you're going to do alcohol wash, then you need to do it correctly. So, little tub. You need to find that 2 frames you need to do, and you need to do the alcohol wash twice. So that frame that has open brood on it, swish them down with your brush, The ones that fly away aren't the ones you want. You just want the crawlers. The reason you want to brush them and not shake it, because if you shake a brood frame, that larva moves and you can damage her. Everybody know that? All right. So, and then once you get enough bees in here, it's pretty simple. You just knock it to the corner, half cup of bees, boom, swirl them around, get your count. Then you go out to an outside frame, maybe the second one in, where all your drones are. You need to do them too, because them are the ones flying back and forth and moving the mites around. So that's the better count, actually, but it's nice to see what's coming out of your brood. I don't have a fork with me, but everybody see them forks? You pick the cappings off your...
Like the scratchers.
The scratchers. So you just drive that into where your drones are and pull them, and then you can see if you got any mites. So it's a little faster and a lot easier to do than to bring all this concoction out. Another thing too, who cleans that stuff off between their hives bodies? You do? You clean all that off? Anybody else?
You're talking about the propolis?
Like the burr comb.
No, the burr comb between the bottom and the top. All right, so if you don't clean that off, they're going to put drone in there. So when you pull that off, you're looking at the drone. You can see if you have mites. So quit cleaning that off. All right, we're doing tests here. These are instant things I can see. I pull that off, I don't see mites. I probably don't have mites, a large amount. I can take a pull. There's another test. I'm just trying to get away from this. Most bees we have anymore, varroa sensitive hygienic behavior, and they will uncap the cells. That's just a brood cleaning behavior. It could be anything in there. It could be a mite in there. So that's a tell too. So I've opened up my hive. I've moved my top box, because we always move our top box. We don't dig in the top box until we're done with the bottom, and then it goes back on, and then we'll dig in that. Because if you start digging in this, the bees are mad, right? So we pulled that off. We have drone between our hives. I don't have no mites. We take a quick peek downstairs, see what's going on. It's going to be the same all the time through, consistent in spring, summer, fall. You know, this time of year, you really want your bees to start pushing down, right? If they're not pushing down, you push them down. You don't want your top box full of honey either. You want them 2 frames in the middle, maybe 3 frames about half. So there's a point you stop feeding, all right? Because you need somewhere, this has nothing to do with mites, you need somewhere for them girls in January-ish to jump to that second box. If it's all honey, they can't make that leap, and they'll starve right there on that first box. So just a little tidbit, has nothing to do with mites.
Okay, so we've done an alcohol wash.
All right, we've done an alcohol wash.
We've been together with our mentors, and they're like, okay, we have a mite problem, now what?
Oh, man. Just burn it, really. Just burn
Oh,
it.
we're not doing that.
Oh,
We love our bees.
We're not burning our, okay.
What are our options?
You have a few options. You can split that hive, pull your queen and a couple frames of brood, and put it in a 5-frame box or whatever you got, it doesn't matter.
If we have extra equipment.
If you have extra equipment. And let that hive go through a brood break. So this is, you don't want to do no chemical actions. They go through a brood break. Did you say you have queens around? You have queens for people around here?
No, I don't, it's my first year, I'm a rookie.
No.
I hope so in the future.
Okay. So we sell, I know we're an hour away, but we sell virgin queens. So the thing that works great, you can do is you divide your hive. You let this go through a brood rake. You come back in 5 days, knock down all the queen cells. You can't have no queen cells for this to work. You put a virgin in, she's basically about 4 days from hatch. And she's in a cage. You put her in there. They expect a virgin anyway. So she's just going to come right down in there and business as usual. She'll come into lay within 10 days. So now you're 15 days of no brood, right? No new brood. So that's only 5 or 6 days of brood left. Now, the less expensive stuff is oxalic acid, right? So this is the cheapest little model all the way up to the Cadillac model. I won't go into how this works, but basically you put the oxalic in, you stick it in. Somebody needs to teach you how to do this. Is there people that really know how to use this in your club?
The wand.
The wand?
Okay.
Okay. And then you can treat that with mites and hopefully you got a new queen, right? Now do it to the other one. Pull her. She's done for. 5 days. Virgin queen. Hit it with oxalic. Now you got 2 hives. So we call that our insurance hive, right? And that's what it is. It's just a small insurance hive. So whatever, something happens, it doesn't matter, boom. We put her right in there. I got brand new queens. So that's, and I traded for mice. And it was real inexpensive. I think these wands are $100 and you can buy that much oxalic acid for like $20. Maybe it's more now, I don't know. Or for you guys, I suggest Apogard. I don't like this acid. It has driven so many of my bees away. It stops the queen from laying. I think it does terrible damage.
Very disruptive.
It is.
What are you calling the acid, formic?
Yeah, formic, mite away strips, whatever. They changed their name to mite away strips because everybody didn't want to use formic, right? So they're tricky. Same thing. It's a formic acid. So Apogard, I would suggest Apogard. It's made out of thyme. So this works really good. But the trick with this is you kind of need a board. Because if you set this on top of your frames where it's supposed to go, and then you put your inner cover on there, they're going to seal this because there's not enough space there. Them bees don't like it, and they're going to seal it with propolis. So anybody can make one of these, right? And that way you have plenty of room here. It's great for putting pollen patties in. It's great to lay your queen cage right on top of your frames and not have to stick it down in the frames and take that chance of something happening there. If you don't have a box to put your queen in to make a division so you can do the oxalic acid, you can just pull the queen and some brood and put it in a 10-frame box, put this on top of the bottom one, put your 10-frame here, put your lid back on it, and here's their entrance to fly and mate. I would do it backwards so does that make sense? That's just a piece of plywood, man. We use these all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use it as a bottom board, you can use it as a lid, you can use it as a division. It has so many uses. You can drill a hole in it and use it as a top feeder.
Where are you supposed to put that in?
You can use it for a lid, like
Okay, so
if you have an extra brood box, an extra deep box, like you're saying you want to make an insurance, but you don't have a 5-frame equipment.
Okay.
You can use that as a lid on your mother hive, and then you put your baby hive on top of it.
It's
Just so you've got it in one
it's kind
tower,
of
so you don't have
designed
the
off
extra
the
equipment.
Snell Grove board.
Yeah.
That's an old school name.
on the very bottom?
No, we put it on the top. When we use Apogard works by
It's heavy.
evaporating and becoming a vapor and falling down, so it goes up on top of your brood.
That will fit inside your lid.
Yes,
Yeah, you make
exactly.
it. It's the same physical size of box. Now, this is a 10 frame, but if you got 8s, just make you an 8 framer. This comes in so handy. We got like a lot of them.
When do you apply that? Because a lot of us, we don't, like, with the Farmer Pro, you can treat for mites.
With the honey
When
on.
you've got honey supers, but you can't do that with the
I understand. If you're pulling honey in and you're pulling comb, you don't really have a mite problem. If your hive, if you can get in your hive and they got 3 solid frames of cap brood and 3 frames of open brood in different stages, there's no reason, because it hasn't started, the mites aren't enough there to cause that hive any issues, right? You don't start seeing issues with mites until like you just have a lot of dark brood, or they're just not moving, or see a lot of uncapped. You see some of your larvae dying in your cells.
Right.
Now you have a virus. So as long as you have your complete brood cycle, if you've got eggs, larvae, young capped, which is the lighter yellow, and then the darker cap, and bees hatching out, there's your brood cycle. Your hive's fine. But if something's missing there and you start seeing like, okay, this doesn't look right. It looks worse than it ever did before. Now you better do something. It's not going to get better, right?
And I'm sure you have resources within your club where you guys talk to each other and send pictures and come help me. I think there's something wrong.
So, yeah,
you
don't
know.
wait. Don't wait.
Right.
Don't go, oh, it'll get better. It's not. It's just going to get worse. So, yeah, help each other.
When you do I have ape guard coming. I did a lot of splits this year, and most of my bigger hives were about 12 frames of bees. How many grams of that stuff would be, like those little tins are 50 grams, right?
Yeah, did you buy the bucket?
Yeah, I bought the big
All right.
bucket where you suck it out with a syringe. How
Yeah.
many, on 12 frame hives, how many, yeah.
It
how
has
many
nothing to
grams
do
would
with
you
the frames. It has to do with the boxes, the
use?
supers.
So how many would you use on a single
You
deep
put
and then a double deep? How
A
many
single,
25.
25.
So a regular single, you do a half dose?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so if I have 2 deeps,
50.
although I only have 2 or 3 frames of breeze.
You still,
bees of
it's
stock,
the
you would
physical
still do-
size. You
It's
still have
the
to do
outside
50.
capacity,
Yeah.
right?
Then you would do 50 grams? Okay, all right, thank you.
And the only drawback with Apigard is if it's going to be hot and humid. It's going to be 90 degrees, upper 80s, and humid like it was in July.
Yeah, don't use it.
Don't use it.
What's the top temperature? Ain't it 85?
I
to safely
think
use it?
so.
Yeah.
Just read it. Read
Just
your
read the
instruction when it
instructions.
comes.
Okay.
Because
So it comes with
I
these.
think the instruction says you can use it up to 100 degrees.
I-
That's what.
Yeah.
you can, but then you won't have any bees
So if you
left.
got,
So
if you got solid bottom boards and you got the whole front open,
Well, I'm mostly down to 2 inches, right? 2 or 3 inches right now.
flip it over to the 3/8 side and don't run no reducers.
Okay. Most of mine I made myself, and what
Oh,
I've done is
you
they're
just
mostly
kept it
3/4.
3/4.
Yeah. I used it when I was trimming off the 1-bys. I just used the 3/4.
I understand.
So
They
you-
don't need that.
Okay.
They invented 3/4 inch size so they could sell you reducers and stuff.
Okay.
It used to be 3/8. But anyway, you're going to get cards like
with the
this.
tub.
Yeah.
And they want you to put that card in there and put your 50 grams on top of the card. Stupid. Okay, don't do that.
Okay.
Just run it right across your
The
frames.
bees hate the
The
cards.
bees hate it.
Once the Apigard is gone, they will peel the paper out of the lamination, and you'll see them flying around with this piece of paper, and then eventually they'll get the plastic out, and then they'll just, it's crazy, but they hate the cards.
And it's hard
Yeah.
to get out once they propolized
Yeah.
it to your frames.
Okay, so you just put it right on top of the frame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
just-
squirt it right on the top of your frames. Half on the bottom, half on the top, you'll be fine.
Do you feed during the time when that stuff's on?
That's a good question. So our smaller hives, we're feeding right now. We're feeding Pro Sweet. But sugar water, that works the same. It's,
So are you?
then we're coming and we're getting ready to do this.
Huh?
So Monday we start, start with
So when you treat
Avocard.
without, do you quit feeding?
Nope.
You keep feeding all the way through?
Yeah, all the way through.
Okay, because I'm just trying to grow bees.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned
Well,
about
yeah, our
making
honey supers are off.
Right.
Concerned
Right,
about
we have so many hives that we're just trying to grow bees too. I don't know how many, 100 and some.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So do you go ahead and do you treat them all or just the ones that you see as having?
Yeah, they all get it. Because they fly in and out of each other. So, and here's where if you got a couple of hives, that's great. But if the neighbor's got some too, then,
Yeah, all the bees are sharing around.
keep your eye open for where you see beehives. So you know where beehives are relative to where yours are. Because queens, when they fly to mate, generally about a mile. Then you got drones flying, and that's called a drone congregational area. So you all get together and get you a map, like I'm here and here and here and here, and then look at your miles between each other, and you can start running some queens yourself. I'll help you. All right, so there's that. I don't like the acid, but if people use the acid, that's fine.
Once you, I'm sorry for another question, but once you put the apron guard on, do you leave the box closed for a certain amount of time and don't get back in?
It'll be, you're not supposed to go back in there for a couple of weeks.
Okay, so you definitely.
And then you got to do it again.
Oh, so okay, we treat twice
Yeah.
with the same amount, and so the only reason you get back in, you're getting back in, and then you're retreating.
Retreating.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're washing zeros and ones, would you still put on the apron guard, or would you simply hit them with oxalic?
So oxalic acid does not work unless you're broodless.
Okay, would you still hit them if you have zeros and ones on mite washes?
I would still Apogard. Yeah.
All right.
And here's where buying the tub helps. You can go, I only got zeros and one. Maybe I'll just give them 25.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. You're making sure you have some.
And
killings.
I don't have that many. It's a smaller box. I can cut that ratio down a little bit
Okay.
instead of killing it. Oh, it's hot. It's too hot. I'm just going to give them 25, 25, 25, 25.
If you have nukes with some cat brood, would you hit them with the apron guard?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just hit
About
it
10.
down. 10 grams?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for all those answers.
If you were to buy the tub, I only got 3 hives.
Yeah, don't buy the tub. It's $130.
Yeah, you can get the 10s for $5 or less a piece. You buy
Unless
them
you
in a
guys
box of
have
10.
something, I don't know your club, if you guys all
Go in on
get on the
stuff.
same schedule and the same cycles, which you kind of should be around here, and then go in together and buy a tub, and then somebody run around and do it to everybody, you can save a lot of money. So I don't know exactly what these are. They're about $5, maybe a little more. To treat it's about $3, right? So you're going to save, that's a lot of money. I think these maybe are $5.50.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're all right.
The other question I had, when you open that tub, does it have an expiration? What's the expiration on that?
It will crystallize in time, and then it's shot. So you definitely want to
make sure
use
the lid's
it.
on
It's
it.
like I know they,
I mean, this would do 50
And keep it kind of
hives.
cool.
So you can kind of look at it that way. You guys got 50 hives.
One treatment or both treatments?
What is it?
You got to treat it twice. Is that
You got to treat it twice.
50 hives? Why do 50 hives twice or no?
I don't know. Because we don't have,
we just
we
grab
don't have
another
a
bucket.
set.
I don't know.
We don't have a set thing. So we just, as we roll.
It's a little different.
So this is and another thing I like
It's
about
like, it's time, let's do it.
Apogard, it's a go-to in the spring.
Yeah.
It's right there with us. We pop a hive open and it just looks like
Lethargic
something's wrong,
and,
right? Boom, they're getting it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a fungal problem. I don't know if it's a virus. I just don't know that early in the spring, and there's nothing we can do about it, really. So, boom, they just get hit with Apogard and
Apple will help with
fungal problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just turns them around. I don't know if we've ever had any that didn't turn around.
Yeah. When they come out of the spring, like you said, and they're weak or there's just something's not right and your others are building up like crazy and this
you-
little lady over here is
You
something
can tell.
wrong.
Look at that cat brood. If it's like, in and out, in and out, in and out, they got they need your help. They're sick. So this will do it. AppleGuard will do it. So, I mean, you guys might want to, so many go in together and buy this and just put some in another
Yeah.
jug. I think they give you 2 of these, but these are nothing. You can buy these anywhere.
Yeah,
All right.
TSC's got them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And put some gloves on. Man, don't let it splash in your face. It
Yeah.
burns.
Yeah.
Water really doesn't take it off that well.
And the oxalic, if you're doing
Well, you don't have
oxalic
lights.
vapor.
Yeah, well, no. So, you might want to look at that.
Yeah.
It's, your club sounded like you guys are working together more than other clubs. So, you might want to save you some money going in on this.
Buckets are $277 in that pair.
These are $277. No, they're like, you better look somewhere else, man.
I just bought one.
141.
Yeah.
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 Oh, don't go there.
Play cool, man.
You could spend that much to trade Man Lake and then.
Yeah. Better Be. That's a good place to buy some stuff.
Makes sense. First step we
I like Better Be.
Man Lake at 141.
I mean, I get discounts from Man Lake, but
What's that?
I get discounts from Man Lake. You buy enough stuff, they'll slide you some little percentages off.
We get your discount code.
No, you have a guy or a girl that you call, and he's the one or she's the one that's taking care of you. So I
I think
have
he
a
means
hotline.
he wants to jump on and get the George.
You just need
the
to
George discount.
get your own guy. You got to spend like $20,000-$30,000 with them though. You get enough hives, you'll be like, no, you don't. It's just other people's land. Bees fly.
Bees fly.
So if you are going to put hives on other people's land, 9. That's our number. 9 hives.
9 per yard.
Yeah.
Why is it 9?
Because you can, that's an 8-foot 4x4. You can put 3 hives on it. So we put little 4x4s on the bottom and making sure that the 4x4 that's underneath the long ones is under the hive. Right? That's where the weight is. Because if you're stacking and not pulling as much, if you pull a lot, then you really don't have to worry about it. But if you're stacking and coming back later, then hives are going to weigh 400 or 500 pounds. And then in the wintertime, you can just push them together, boom. So now December or the brood cycle, the brood break. How a brood break really works. Let's step back a minute. Brood break really works is when you don't have any brood. The queen comes back into lay, and she starts laying eggs, and then they hatch, and then they're going to cap it so the larva can pupate right into a bee. That's when the mites jump into that cell. Well, you've had a brood break. These mites are freaking out, right? It's not a cycle no more for them. They're just freaking out. So they just gang bang them few cells that are being capped, and there's too many in there and they die. The pupa dies too.
But it kind of wipes them out
Yeah,
real
so
quick.
it gives a real big knockdown to them. So that's what a brood break really does. But if you can come back with some oxalic and hit them, you're just helping yourself out a lot faster.
And if we're doing oxalic vapor, we should
Now, if
respirate.
you all want to get together and get on the same page, right, and work around, you can go buy you one of these. Man, this is bad. This is badass. So this one runs on a 18-volt Milwaukee battery. I didn't bring one. And it's a digital display. I think it's 230 degrees Celsius. And what you do is once it's up to temp, this crucible stays at temperature. and you just drill a hole, or you can stick it in the front, you can stick it in the top of your hive. It doesn't really matter where you do it, just stick it in the side. This has 4 settings, 1 gram, 2 grams, 3 grams, and 4 grams. You just put it in here and push it, and this is a done deal. I mean, done. That's gonna take you 6 or 7 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do a hive. This takes you stick it in the hive, you push that down, you stand up, you go, and it's done. And you do another one. So we got 2 of them, man, we can rock a yard just in just a few minutes. Time, right? Time is money when it boils down to that. But this does the same thing. It turns it into a vapor. Now, if you guys decide you want to do some oxalic acid, the very first thing you want to buy is a gas mask. And the filters need to be organic vapor or better. I see people with the little glasses on, man, you don't want that stuff hitting you at all. You don't want nobody around you, no animals, nobody, unless they have this on, because that stuff will kill you. You're taking, it's sublimation, you're taking a crystal, heating it up and turning it into a vapor. It's gonna turn back. If you get that into your lungs, there it is, it's in there. It's not coming back out. Kind of like meth or something. And you see how them guys look. Yeah, it's bad news. But safety, 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 you know. So if you're gonna go down the oxalic road, it works great at December. There's no brood. You can hit them at the beginning and at the end, even a nice day on January. You know, because it's pennies. This stuff it's pennies. Where, you know, this stuff's dollars. You gotta look at it that way. So we generally only use oxalic in December. Maybe in the spring if something's catching our eye, but generally Apogard is our go-to. So right now, you know, your hives should be 3-4 frames of solid brood right now. And now's the time for you to set them up for winter too. So, you know, manipulate your hives, make sure, because there's probably a whole bunch of pollen in that first box. You probably don't know it, but there is. So, you know, set your hives apart, don't smoke them, right? I want to see the bees that are on the frames. I don't want them running around, so don't smoke them. I want to see them. And then set your hive up. Put about 4 frames of brood down in the bottom, some honey, and push your pollen out. They're not going to need pollen here in a little bit. They don't need pollen going through winter, but they're going to need it in the spring. And then your next box, you know, if you can get a solid frames of brood to put it up on top, that's what you really want. And then let them pull themselves down and give that band of honey on top. Because like I was saying, they really need to go from that bottom box and jump up into the top box. You think you're doing good by having a whole bunch of honey in there? You're not. You hear all these people, I don't know what happened. It was full of honey. That's too much. It's just too much. I know that had nothing to do with mites, but that's what's happening right now. Get out there. Get out there and set your hives up, really. It's that time of year. You know, you can still run honey supers on top, but get your girls set up, especially if they're a new hive, you know, this year queen. And if you just got too much honey, pull it out. If you don't have comb, right? Somebody got a spinner, spin it out and put that comb back in there. And don't let them sit there with a whole deep box of honey sitting on top of them. They'll die. All right, next mite problem.
Questions?
That's it for mites. I hate them.
If that comes out of there as a vapor, does it drift up and down?
Oh yeah, it'd fill your box up, man.
Yeah.
It'd be coming out of every crevice. Yeah, we throw rags in the front.
Yeah, we have little holes drilled like golf tee size, like a little 1/4-inch hole in the back on the bottom board.
yeah.
And we put a rag on the front. Yeah,
We just throw the rag in the front of the entrance.
this size, and we'll put a rag in the front of it, and then we'll put this in the back. But yeah, it'll come out every crack. If you've got that one with the weird hole in the side, it's coming out of that.
Next time when you come back to do it again, take that golf tee.
Yeah.
Make sure that hole's open. 'cause-
Yeah.
We don't even do that no more. We just come back with a drill and drill them all out.
Re-drill them,
first.
yeah, because of the propolis.
It just became, you can't get that stupid thing out.
Yeah.
We just quit doing it.
So,
We just real quick run a drill through there. Yes, sir.
When would you take the extra pollen out? You know, let's say if you have, because.
You don't need to take it out, leave it down in there.
I thought you said at the end of the year, take it out.
No.
Because you want to have honey on the side.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was just talking about rearranging your
Rearranging
hive
it. I'm
after the honey
sorry.
flow.
So look at it like this. They're going to be, you're wanting them in the bottom box. It's not going to freeze, right? It's not going to freeze. They're going to be milling around down there, doing their thing. They can up and down. It don't really get bad till January, well, February really. There's where they have trouble. And that's the point where they're going to move up into that second box because that heat, right? They want brood. So if anything on your hive, put some insulation on top. That way that heat hits there, and that's where they're going to be, up there. Now, in March, this is really important. You want to go out there, and there's some nice days, right? Beginning of March is awesome. And you go out there, and the bees are in the top box. I don't need to get in the bottom box. They're in the top box. All right, we don't have to do this. Go in there, pull that frame of honey out. Boom, boom, boom. There's my brood. Look at the frame next to the brood. Is there honey there? If there's not, put honey there, both sides. All right, because if they don't have honey, they're not going to leave that brood at the end of March when it
Yeah.
gets seriously cold
And they'll starve
for
to
that
death.
cold snap. They're not going to leave the brood. They'll die right there. And so as long as they got honey behind them, right, they're keeping that brood warm, and I have honey right here, you're good. So that's something you can do. Make sense?
Yeah.
The world of George and Robin.
How many, how much honey should we have in our boxes going into winter, and how much bees should be our goal?
That's going to vary on each hive. Is going to really vary on
Because
that.
on my double deeps right now, I only have about 12 frames of bees. And I just moved them from.
Is that
single
frames
deep
of
into
brood, or
second deep.
is that frames of brood, or just
Frames of bees.
bees covering
I mean,
the
you go-
frames?
You know, you're counting all the cracks, so I've just now moved a lot of them from single deep to double deep. You know,
Yeah.
trying to get them to, build the next stage, because I don't have a whole lot of comb, so I've been feeding them all year, trying to develop, get as much comb as possible. Going into fall, how many frames of bees should be my goal to have?
Who's the single guy? Was that you? Running singles?
I used to do singles, but I got lazy.
So I never,
Got to be on
I
top
know
of that,
people
don't
that
you?
run singles, but I don't know anything about it. So,
I'm doing double.
No, he's talking
yeah,
about
but you don't, he doesn't have 20 frames. You really don't need 20 frames. So if you could take whatever you got, it doesn't matter, and push them to one side and on top of each other, right? There you go.
And how many, because I still have tons of brood right now, how many frames of bees should I be hoping to go into winter? What's the preferred amount of bees to have?
It doesn't really
It's
matter.
kind of a loaded
It's
question,
going to be a
isn't it?
low number.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So, yeah, if you don't have your top, they're all supers, but your top brood box full, then push them all over to one side so they can go up, right?
Okay.
The goal would be that they can move up and brood up top.
Okay.
No different than how many 5-framers you said you had?
I have about, I think I have 12 or 13.
They're doubled up?
Not yet, but most of them are getting to where they're full. Yeah, I started this year with 4 hives, and then I caught 5, and then I've been just splitting them really hard, trying to grow the next step. So most of them are, like today I was in them, and I'm starting to think about the next box. And I've been trying to catch up on equipment all year because I wasn't prepared to have 100 boxes.
It happens.
I understand.
It's been a game of just built.
We don't expect to have skids as it does.
Yeah, and they disappear.
We ran out of 10 frames last year. We had to start using 8. So now we have 8s, 10s, and 5s. Oh, man.
Would you prefer going the double new, or would you
Yeah.
prefer it on
Yeah.
the same?
I would way rather run double 5-framers.
So you'd rather do double
We-
new?
we-
Yeah,
instead of-
it's the more natural progression for the
I don't
bees
even
in
know
the
how
winter.
many, almost 200 or so. That's
Yeah.
how we run them through winter.
We just push them together,
We just push them together.
and they'll cluster right where the warmth is in the center on both boxes.
Great. And thanks for answering all the questions. Sorry if I got in anybody's way. Thank you.
They're all good questions. They're relative to everybody here? All right, come on. Throw one at me, man. I got an answer. I can only tell you what we do
Yeah.
and what works. You know,
So this is gonna sound like a really dumb question.
there's no dumb questions.
Yeah.
Any dumb questions when you don't
But
answer?
you're talking
Exactly.
about the Apgar, that you're putting it in there, and it is a chemical, correct?
It's thyme, so
It's
a
organic
natural.
compounds.
I know we're splitting hairs here.
So when you're getting the organic.
It is organic.
Our honey supers aren't on when we're using it.
Yeah. Our honey supers aren't on.
Okay, so Colleen has one hive. Come spring, we're gonna have one hive unless Scott has other plans for us. But Lord willing, she's gonna have a hive. So you just said to treat in December and then to treat in the spring. So would you not have honey at that point in time?
Well, we treat with Apogard in the spring and April, and we haven't put our supers on yet until the end of April. We don't, we call we call the
even
honey
on there.
supers are like your mediums and shallows or a deep with honey in it. We're just talking about our deep brood boxes, our 2 brood boxes.
You don't keep that, generally people take their supers, their honey boxes, extract their honey, let the bees clean it up, and then they put those boxes away for the winter. You don't put those back on.
Right.
So
Okay,
until,
so
and
the
then,
2 top boxes that she has on right now would normally be taken off in the fall.
How many,
Well,
how many,
we're, because being smaller frames.
yeah, how many
we gotta-
boxes? Oh, she's doing
we gotta
mediums?
set up the bees
I gotcha.
and then for mediums.
So what is she gonna winter in 3
All right,
mediums?
so that's a whole nother deal. If you're running a deep and mediums, then you want the mediums to be on the bottom going through winter. Because you want them girls to move up into a deep frame.
Well, that's the whole thing, we're trying to keep her happy.
I'm just telling
Is she
you,
doing
man.
8 framers? Yeah, just a frame at a
Because,
time instead
You
of a
know,
whole box.
think
you
about
know?
this. You got a deep frame and you got a medium frame. There's not much room there for brood.
Right, because they like that
So
big deep arch.
if they have to move up into that for winter, and the next brood, and you're going to, well, I got 2 brood frames. Okay, but there's that much wood between them. That's a huge,
Yeah, big
that's a
windy
huge
space.
amount of space for them bees to have to move. So you're better off them being in the medium frames in the bottom because it's not as cold. And then as it gets colder, they move into a deep frame. Does it make sense? And it's okay that you flip it, you know, they'll move back down in the spring, don't worry. Just little things. You cannot do it and roll the dice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're rolling the dice anyway, so. We have about a 10% loss. I think we were 12 this last season. So, I don't know, we lost like 40 hives or something.
It's tough when you've only got 1 though.
Yeah.
That's a big gamble, you know.
So, you know, you want to give them the best chance you can give them. I don't know what you guys do for winters. Somebody's here got the plan on that?
Feed them up with 2-inch polystyrene under the lid.
You got
I
it,
do
man.
not use an upper entrance. I put a mouse guard on, but I still leave my entrance about the gate wide.
That's what I do, works
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, anything
Not
like that.
using upper entrance, I don't want the heat running out the top. It's
Well,
like
you
one
know
of
what?
those screws will throw
It's,
your
it's
garage
not
door
heat,
open.
it is
Moisture.
moisture that's going out that hole.
Polystyrene will go over and hit though, moisture down the side.
Sure.
They got
It
water
does.
that they can get to in the middle of the winter, but it won't condense over their head. So, and what I do is I also put a piece of 6 mil plastic, and then put my polystyrene on top. I can go out there in the middle of the winter, slide that polystyrene off, you'll see moisture around the edges, never in the center. And kind of take a quick peek, put it back on.
Our method is similar. We have a 3-inch rim with 2 inches of polystyrene, and that 1 inch that's left, that's where we put some sugar.
Yeah, I use like a 1-inch feeder shim. Yeah.
So we used to do all that. There's too many things.
Right.
All right, too many
It
things.
is.
We want one thing, right?
Yeah.
So we do it that way, but we do drill a whole 1/2-inch hole in the front. We see them using it in the spring.
Yeah, sometimes they'll propolis it in the winter and then open it back up in the spring.
Yeah, usually in the fall, they'll glue that
Yeah,
one shut. Yeah.
and it helps us too, because then if they have a lot of dead and they can't get out the entrance, at least they can get back out the front. So,
Just same thing.
yeah, whatever
There's
works.
no difference. We used to do what you're doing, and then it got to the point where we got too many things, right?
They don't have the volume.
Yes, and we're like, man,
Yet.
we got too many things.
Yet,
No,
yet.
no.
You don't have the
I've
volume
already
yet.
decided to level off at a certain amount. Maximize production on what I got.
Yeah.
So,
So we're doing a little different thing here this coming season. We're going to take the 5-framers off the top of our mating boxes, because that's where all our brood is right now, is in the mating box. And we put 5 frames of comb on top of them, and through a bucket, we're feeding them. So we're going to do the same thing, right? They're going to fill that up, and that's where they're going to be in the spring. And then we're going to take that and just throw it in boxes and stick it out there to try to get, even if you got 3 frames of honey, retail, $100,
yeah, right.
right? So that, instead of building a complete hive, just go throw a bunch of them out on the ground. And get you some pulled comb if you can, right? That's gold. All right, what do you guys do with your comb in the winter? I don't know, what do you do with it? How do you store it?
I store mine in the barn, but put a 20 excluder down. Well, I'll put 2x4s down to get it off the ground. I put a 20 excluder on. I stack them up, put a 20 excluder on top. That way the mice can't get into them. But once it gets cold, nothing's gonna bother them. Just keep the mice
Yeah.
up.
Air and light, right? Air and light. So we basically got some skids, similar hardware cloth,
Yep.
stack them. We do knock them down to like 7 frames in our boxes. Get more air movement in there. We generally don't have no trouble. Like this time of the year, we leave them sit outside until you're ready to stack them or get ready to get cold.
Yeah. I got a bunch of honey supers right now just kind of sitting sideways.
Yeah, sideways.
So the sun shines right in.
As long as the sun gets to them, you're not going to have no bugs. Don't think I'm going to wrap this up in plastic bags and stick it in the basement.
Oh, don't put it in the
Oh,
basement.
man, you're going to have a delight when you open that up.
Yeah, that's the worst thing.
Just leave them outside. I mean, really. All right, we've covered a lot. All right, more questions.
When you're growing your queens, when you're expanding your hives, do you do that with cells, or do you go
No.
and put your queens into the incubators and then?
Yeah.
We hatch them
that way?
in the incubator.
And then when they hatch out in the incubator, do you have cages on each one that keeps them in?
We put the cell in a roll cage, and they're sitting in trays inside the incubator hatch.
Okay, so.
That's like a
so
whole
when they
nother
come out-
thing.
'cause I have the hair roller cage. Is there something that you put on so when that does come out, that it doesn't go and battle with the other queens?
Well, they're in the individual cages.
They should have a bottom on it
Yeah.
Okay.
with them little dimples.
I guess I probably don't have the right one yet. I've been using the ones they're called hair roller cages. You put them in the, you put them in there so the bees can't eat them in the side. But I guess they make another one that is totally encased, right? Mine has a hole in the
Yeah,
bottom.
there's lots of different cages.
Well, what you got is for introducing queens.
Okay.
Is yours
What I have
orange?
is where you're introducing cells.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Oh,
different.
that's just for the cell itself,
That's something
right?
totally
It's a cell
different.
protector,
Okay,
That's
so
not a roller cage.
right?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's what
Roller
it is.
cage is about like this long, and then the cell sits on top of it, and then she hatches and she can run around in there.
Okay, and then, so you do that once they're made cells, right? Then you put them in your incubator and you just leave them in there until it's time to.
Oh, we know when they're gonna hatch.
Yeah, but we're doing like brood builders and, cell builders. We're not just picking a hive and then letting them pull a cell or two. Like it's every
what-
4 days we're grafting and putting them in,
Yeah.
It's a little bit more intense than what you might be doing at home.
Well, okay, I'm just trying to copy the Bob Benny way of doing it. Where you have a cell builder and then you split it in half and then you have a queenless and then you recombine, made them a queen, right? Is that different than what you do?
Same principle, same
Yeah.
principle. We just run cell builders constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I want to really grow the queens, the best way to go is an incubator instead of putting in the cells, because then you're introducing a queen, just not a cell that you hope is going to make.
So introducing a queen is different than introducing a cell.
Okay.
So two different worlds. It's no different than you're introducing a queen to a hive. Just because it's a little hive, it's still a hive.
Gotcha.
All right. So you have to go 5 days, tear down all the queen cells, give it a queen.
Then you give the queen.
And the reason it's 5 days is because you're 3 days of before the egg hatching, 3.5, whatever. And then the first 36 hours of every bee's life is fed a really high sugar content of royal jelly, sort of like mother's milk. After that, it gets formula, right?
Okay.
At that
become
point,
a
it can't
worker.
be a queen no more.
Right.
Gotcha. So if you're doing this, if you're doing the cells, how many days would you make your mating nukes ahead of time? How many days would you do that? If you're putting cells in. Because that's where I'm at now. I'm comfortable with that. Because I've done that a few times now. So I'm trying to master that.
I guess it all boils down to, are you candling your cells? You know
I've
they're
tried to look-
viable?
I've tried to look and see them. I've tried to, but I can't say I did that successfully. But I have tried to do
Turn them upside down
upside down.
so they fall down in the cup.
That's what
That's
I did.
on your 8th day.
Okay.
Put them in your cell builder. 8 days later, you can pull them out, turn them upside down. They're going to fall down and you can see them.
Oh, that's what I didn't do.
So-
I was doing them this way. instead of
Yeah.
upside down.
So you would want to make your mating nukes a minimum of 5 days, if not a week, week and a half before you introduce.
Also-
That way you've gone down a few times and knocked down queen cells, knocked down queen cells. Oh, there's a little weird thing over here, knock it down.
Okay, yeah.
That way it's absolutely hopelessly queenless.
Yeah, I lost a whole bunch of queen cells on my last one. I lost 11 out of 18
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the queen come in.
Yeah, and
Kill
like,
'em.
where we're doing all that crazy stuff at his place, like a virgin can fly in and then all of a sudden all your work was for naught when you wanted that one.
So you make sure that if you're introducing cells, you're doing it 5 or 6
We don't
days
do
ahead.
cells. We do virgins.
We do
Right, but
virgins.
I'm going to be doing cells.
I understand.
So if I'm doing cells,
Either way, it's still,
you would still make it 5 or 6 days ahead of time.
I
At
would.
least, yeah,
because you're trying to introduce something that's not of their own.
that they didn't make. Because they want to make their own. They want to do it right now.
So, we
So they'll make the emergency cells, and then they're like, okay, we got emergency cells. Now we'll make more cells. That's why sometimes you open it and there's cells everywhere because they were freaking out, And you got to knock all those down.
Hopelessly queenless.
And that's if you want to requeen your hives, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know people do it and they're successful at it, but you'll really be successful at it if you take that queen out of the equation, wait 6 days. 5's the minimum number.
Okay.
Wait 6, and then introduce a new queen.
Okay.
You're much better off. And if you're trying to fix a mean hive, just move it over here. Just move it over here.
Give it to Tony.
And let them mean bees fly to that, put a box there, let them fly back, right? They're the ones that are not going to want to accept a new queen.
Right.
All of them.
Those
Just get them out of the equation.
older
Just create
foragers.
the split and leave the main ones.
It's like, yeah.
We're just saying, if you just want to replace a queen in a mean hive,
Yeah.
that's what you need to do. Or, right? pull some brood up. The foragers are going to fly back home because they know where home is. And all you're left with is brood and nurse bees, and give it a queen. 5 days, right? Tear down the queen cells. If they've made any, they maybe didn't. And then introduce a queen.
Okay, great, thank you very much, thank you.
I seen a thing where you was talking about really bad bees or always just. Have you ever had to euthanize a hive?
No.
Never.
So years ago, when it was, these brand name queens came out and they're trying to fight the mites and all. And I'm like, man, that ain't your answer. Bees are diverse, right? Diversity is their life. So I just went down a different road and started getting rid of mean bees off with their head, right? They're out of the equation, and just keep the good ones, and now we're at a point where we have some really nice stock. This is how we go in our hives right here. Now and then they might get a little pissy if you're in it too long.
Another thing, you was talking about the deeps, moving them up to the top. When we got our, his nukes this spring when we picked them up, they're 10 frame deep.
Oh, okay.
You're saying just move them up to the top and just kind of set, is that what
You picked up a 10 frame deep full of bees? A box of bees?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Nice.
good.
We got five our nuke, but this bottom's full.
So do you have your second box on yet?
I got 3 boxes on top.
All right. So
They're
too
the
much
same-
room
they're
is.
the same situation with Connie, because being able to handle deeps, so that was, we started out, we were gonna let them go all mediums, and then we got the nukes, it's like, the nukes are deeps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mediums,
That's a
don't do
problem.
mediums. If you're gonna do anything, do 8 framers.
Yeah, and that's.
Or even
back-
fives and
back
fives
up
and
might have
fives.
been the way to
You
go.
can do 5 framers.
Yeah, we have some 5 over 5 over 5,
Five
you
are easy.
It's the same amount, but it's
And
just
you
a
still get
taller.
the same amount of honey.
Yeah,
Like,
and much lighter.
just got to remember that if you move a 10 frame box, that's the staple of this country. It really is. Been around since mid 1800s.
This last drop.
So, and it's worked well. It still works wonderful. But when you go to an 8 frame, you lost some real estate. You lost 4 frames. That's a lot of real estate. So you got to be on your game. They're going to move fast. Just going to right on up. They're going to move real fast. Versus a 10 framer, they're a little slower and you have more time. 5 framers are just amazing boxes of bees. I mean, we can have that thing 4 high in no time. And then just boom, split it down. And you still get, you push that down, you're still going to get 2 5 framers full of honey. That's 10 frames of honey. So if you're, worrying about the weight, try something like that. Another thing, put pull handles on. A pull handle where the fold out handles.
Like for a drawer, yeah.
Hey man, you got it, all right? You're not trying to put your fingers in them little. Most of our hives have pull handles on them. Just 2 people can hold it. That's the thing.
The feeder we got, they got us a feeder, it's a top feeder, holds 2 gallons.
Don't put that much in it.
Yeah, well, we did it like a couple times, they'll drink it down like 2 days and gone.
Watch that they're not putting that in the brood.
Yeah, I checked that last time I was into it this.
You guys they're still pulling comb up here? I'm jealous. Somebody got some room I can bring a trailer full of bees up here.
I pull them around, not without plenty of sugar oil.
Without
So you
being
said
fed.
you're 3 high.
Above the D.
Is all that pulled?
They're working on it.
No, you got your deeps and you got a medium and it's pulled.
Yeah.
And the next one's pulled. Well, pull them off of there. Spin them out.
Then you can feed it back to them.
And then you can put
Start
that comb
making it
back
over
on
and
there
over
and then feed it back. Right? You're just trying to get comb pulled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Throw another deep on there. Let them pull some deep comb. That's way better than medium comb. Because now you can make another hive next year. So we'll talk about Ed and his 900-year-old hives. So we've come to the realization, this is really important, and we've proved it to ourselves, to try to replace 8 brood frames in your hives every year. So that'd be 3 years, and nothing's older than 3 years. Because most important thing, and everybody knows this, girls like new stuff. All right. And they react to that fresh comb, especially coming out of winter. I mean, they just rock it. And you can tell the hives that are got that old comb, you know. So when you're looking at your comb, if I hold it like this, it looks like the hexagon. But if you go like this, it's a circle. That's now either junk, depends on how bad it is, or it gets moved up into some deep honey supers. If it gets moved up in some deep honey supers, then we spread them apart and put like 7 frames in a deep, and that way they pull fat comb. That way you can cut it off because you can't cut that old comb. So you're new, you start rotating your frames every year. Get new frames in there.
I guess if I'm able to follow the correct plan, though, I should be able to start selling some of the old. It's a good way to get rid of that, right? Because as I'm selling new,
That's pretty red. You want to sell off your old stuff to people?
Well, it's only 2 or 3 years old, right? You keep the cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, but we don't want our brood frames any older than 3 years old. So why do you want to give old brood frames away to somebody, man?
It's the first time I had heard, that 3 was old.
It is. Now it's a honey super. Right?
Well, you mean you move it up to a honey super now?
After 3, its 3rd year, it goes into a honey super. Now, deep honey supers are
Heavy.
heavy.
Yeah, it's all getting heavier every year. It's
That.
That's where them pull handles, man. Them pull handles are nice.
And a sidekick.
And a sidekick. We have other sidekicks too.
Yeah.
When as this thing's getting bigger, it's getting to be more of a pain in the hiney to feed them. I'm doing all these jars, half-gallon jars and quart jars, and it's a real hassle. So, do you do internal feeders or do you do
buckets?
1 gallon buckets.
Yeah.
Where's the best place to buy buckets? Because I can know that I'm getting ready to move that.
The best place to buy 1 gallon buckets is Uline.
Uline, okay. Do we have to care if it has a seal or gasket on it?
It doesn't.
Okay.
A gallon bucket doesn't. The hardest part is the plug. You're not going to find them.
Okay.
Because we all buy them up every year.
Okay.
So I do have the plugs, and then I have the drill bit. I can't remember what it was, like 48 millimeter or something. Don't quote me on the number. So that thing's about $60 for that drill bit.
Okay.
And then the bungs are like $2 a piece.
For the tent plugs?
Yeah, tent plugs. So you drill your hole in that. Bob Benny might sell you some.
Yeah, I seen it on one of his videos. He said that he would sell those sometimes. Okay, thank you so much.
But I have tent plugs if you need to buy some.
Thank you. I'll give you the phone number.
Yeah, I didn't bring no cards.
Shame on you.
And I took the wrong cards to the meeting. I'm slacking, man.
If you don't care, put a picture of it on.
The problem is my truck
Okay.
is in the barn up on the lift getting the whole front end rebuilt. So everything's in the truck.
Likely story.
And that's the problem. I had to climb up on a ladder just to get my wallet. And I'm squeezing through the door because they only want to open so far. So,
All right, any final questions?
man, we got answers. What you got?
We was up there, it's been a couple of weeks ago, and I'll talk to Dave about it. We was outside the hive observing, we seen like he's telling us about the new bees, fuzzy bees.
Yeah.
We noticed a bunch of new bees because they were real small and fuzzy looking, and they was all running outside, had their pollen sacks on, dragging stuff in, it's all flying all over the place.
Well, they're a forager at that point.
Yeah, so
Little
they-
fuzzy bees, when you pull your brood frames that are hatching out, you'll see them.
Yeah, they were white. We did look at that too. Actually, I did, the last time I was in, I went down there and was pulling it up and was looking at the larvae. Larvae, that was white.
White, yeah.
they
And
were-
wet. You're looking for white and wet.
Yes, they were white, pearly white.
So here's another thing to take into consideration if you're just starting out in the bees. When you look at a frame of capped brood, let's just say the whole frame's capped brood. I don't know how to say this. You lay the frame down, all the bees are standing up, right, that are going to hatch out. But when it hatches, it's like this. It now covers 3 cells. So that one frame of brood, when it hatches out, it needs 2 more frames to expand on. So here's how you can kind of go, well, I'm going to need this much more room, right? You're going to have some losses as that happens, but take that into consideration as your hives are expanding. In the spring, just get all the honey out of your hive. Just take it out. They don't need it. They're never going to touch it. They're never going to eat it. So sometime in April, when the dandelions are blooming, just pull all that honey out, spin it out, and give them their comb back. And put comb right next to your brood. Now she's got somewhere to lay. She's not going to swarm on you. And that's when we get our fall honey, right? Or summer fall honey is in the spring. What we ultimately do is we have a third deep. So we move all that honey up and then put comb next to her and then a new foundation down in there. And this is our start of a new foundation, right? And then that third deep is just full of honey. And when we pull honey, it's gone. It's also a queen excluder because she's not going to cross that honey, especially if you give her room. Giving a queen room is not putting another box on. Giving a queen room is for her to expand outwards. So that's where you give her comb. So just spin that honey out. They don't need it. They really don't. They're not. Anybody got that same old honey sitting there on the outside of their boxes? Come on, you do. I know you do.
Oh, yeah, you'll find on the occasional one, you know right away.
It's all dark.
Like,
That's a can of beans in the back of your cupboard that you're, I'm going to eat that one day. No, you're not.
No, once fresh nectar's coming in, they ain't gonna touch it.
No, they ain't touching it. So get it out of there. Give them room.
That was his intentions, like I said, building that comb up, and I was talking to Dave, I said we scrape back off and keep and clean it up and scrape back in there and let it clean it up and scrape back out and save it for spring.
Yeah, better scrape it off,
Yeah,
borrow the clubs,
yeah.
extract it off. Of course, it's, when you eat it, you don't want to sell it because it's all over sugar.
Right.
Yeah, but if it's capped, your water will be right, and you can just put it in a bucket and save it and feed it back to them when you make another one. Now it's already going to be inverted, so it's basically honey. It just doesn't have anything but sucrose in it. They've pulled other things, but so you can just feed that right back to them, when you need it. The most that's going to happen is it'll crystallize, and you just set it out in a nice hot day or a hot car, it'll turn.
How much do you sell your virgin queens for?
$10. Just gotta let me know when, and we'll let you know when and how many you want.
Okay.
So see, that's what makes it nicer for you. These are already
Ready to
quality
fly.
queens. They're marked for you. They're in a cage, and I could just tell you I'm going to have queens. We have, in the spring and summer, every 4 days, we have 100 queens coming out.
Okay.
So it's not a problem. It's just gonna make your life so much easier. Then you try to do all that stuff.
Oh, I'm gonna do that stuff too. Easier is not always the most profitable.
Bees are profitable.
No, I said easier is not always the most profitable.
Okay, so we're gonna get off course. It's not that easy. I know you say you've done it, but the quality of them queens may not even be there.
I agree, although, you know, you gotta learn and start somewhere. And so, you know, the more times I do it, then the better I'll get at it.
Yeah, but you're wasting your time on the small amount that you want to expand. You're better off buying a quality queen, you know, that you know what's going to happen when she starts laying, than to try. Now, I'm not saying not to try, but find something else to try them on, not your main bees.
Okay,
All right?
yeah, I understand.
Go buy some, I'll sell you some. I ain't use them no more. Them little foamies. Just dump a
little
couple
minis.
bees in it. Yeah, practice with them.
In the spring.
In the
Those things
spring.
only work in the spring.
Okay.
I don't know, they're kind of expensive now, but I think I got a big box of them. I'll let them go cheap.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn all the different parts of businesses to go.
The whole trick is to get honey. Honey is what, $16 a pound down where we live. So, you know,
Pretty much 10 around.
one bucket of honey, 60 pounds, is $720 retail.
Yeah.
Unless you make too much, then you can't sell it.
What is it? Oh, we sell
We don't
it.
have that issue.
I'll buy honey.
Yeah, he'll buy it by the bucket.
I ain't paying $700.
Right. That's why you get so big, you know, you drive out, people ask, you know, well, how you make a living with this? You know, the problem is, you know, at least around here, you know, I guess you're in the city, whatever, but after you make so much, then you're selling wholesale. You sell twice as much and make it, you only make as much as you was before doing half the work.
Most of the people that I help a lot, that similar to all you, I've taught them how to use virgins. They blew up. And they have so much honey, they can't sell it. And I buy it for like $2.25 a bucket from them. Because their wives are like, man, they're mad at me, or vice versa, because I ain't making no money. I was like, you want to make money? I'll get you to make money. And,
225 for a 5-gallon bucket.
yeah. So, if you want to make money off of your bees, come talk to me. How many hives you want?
How many business cards you got?
You know, it really is. How many hives you want? Like, we can make hives as fast as you can imagine. You can believe how fast you can make hives.
What's the maximum amount of hives you would put into a yard if you had a goodly amount of feed in the area? You know, I got deer plots with clover, and I got blackberries, and got woods. You know, I got a nice mixture.
They fly, so, you know, just do like a mile circle around you. See what, you can bring that up on Google and do a circle.
What would be the maximum amount of hives you would do?
So we have generally 9. If you want production and honey, 9.
So you have 9, but you have 300 hives?
No, we have a mating yard.
We have
Our mating
mating
yard
yards.
is overpopulated, so we have quality drones, a lot of drones. Because like you said, every 4 days we're hatching 100 virgins. We don't use all those there, but if we put 50 out, we need that many drones for them to be able to mate with.
Okay.
You know, so we have an overpopulated yard where the majority of the hives are, which is different than everybody else's projects, you know.
Yeah, you got to have drones.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part. That's got to be your best hive, the one making the drones,
Yeah.
because that's who she's mating with.
Yeah.
So that's what the bees are going to be.
So we want
Now
quality
her
drones too.
genetics is important too. So it takes a long time to get rid of everything. And anybody around me, man, I just take it over. I'll give them queens,
Oh, to make sure that they're breeding correctly with yours.
you know.
That's smart.
So, you know, and I help them even with their apiaries get going.
That's good stuff. Thank you.
Because then I know where my queens are going, right? They got the same genetic structure that I want.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's smart.
So that's the first thing you need to do if you're going to want to do queens. Now, if you get queens from me, they have no relations to anything you have up here.
When I
So
started, I
whoever
bought
they
4
mate
different
with,
guys, or I started from 3 different guys who were in different markets, trying to make sure I started off diversified.
and that helps.
And I bought
You got to
one
start
out-
somewhere,
bought one
yeah.
out of California, bought a Saskatraz, just trying to mix them all up for hybrids.
They all nice.
You know.
No, I'm serious, man.
I only have one terrible hive.
Well, then that's the one you got to get rid of.
Well, it's on its way. That's why.
You got to get rid of that
Get whacked
queen
in this next-
because
this next,
her-
breeding that she get whacked.
her genetics is straight to the boys.
Yeah. I tried to kill her last time, but I couldn't find her.
Man,
I tried, you know, it's too deep, and I just couldn't find it.
just move one over here and go like this for about 5 minutes. And the one that gets real loud, she's not in there. She's in the other one, right?
Yeah.
And then take half of them frames out and put it in another box. And then whoever gets loud,
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. That's so smart. Okay.
no smoke.
No smoke.
If
'Cause
you
she'll
got to
start
suit
running.
up for that, then so be it. You don't want her running.
Yeah, especially if it's already mean.
You don't want her running.
Okay, thank you so much.
Did I wear you out?
We're, no, the questions are great, but
Yeah.
we're at time. I don't want to keep everybody late. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Info,
I'm full of useless information.
lots of good info.
Yes.